What should be done with the A-10 Thunderbolt II? The answer is obvious. Congress has approved the plan to retire the A-10. The U.S. Air Force will be parting ways with the Hog. This decision makes perfect sense. The A-10 was developed in the 1970s. Its task was to provide close air support to ground troops. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, aka the Warthog, has served well. It proved especially useful in the Gulf War. A-10s flew 8,100 sorties in Iraq. They destroyed thousands of Soviet-era combat vehicles. They were later used in Afghanistan to destroy fortifications. But these days, the U.S. has different strategic goals. It relies on more agile fighters and next-generation missiles. This does not make the A-10 obsolete though. It can still do a lot of good. The most obvious solution is sending it to Ukraine. The Ukrainian Air Force says it would be great. An air-to-air fighter could be more useful than an F-16. Crucially, the Hog only needs 4,000 feet of dirt runway. But how could a 40-year-old plane be of use in the 21st century? Let's see. The A-10 was created to fill a capability gap in America's air power. For decades, the U.S. had had a different focus. It built fast, high-flying fighters and bombers. But close air support required slower and lower-flying planes. They also had to be more resilient. This became apparent during the Vietnam War. The Air Force's jets were too fast to spot targets in dense jungle. They didn't have the fuel to make multiple passes. So Fairchild Republic came in with a design for an unusual aircraft. The A-10 prized resiliency, redundancy, and function over all else. It was nearly as long as it was wide. The fuselage was basically a massive 30mm rotary cannon with a cockpit on top. Two GE turbofan engines were mounted high on the fuselage. The pilot and controls were shielded from fire. This was achieved through redundant hydraulic systems. A titanium armor tub completed the picture. A-10 pilots joked that the jet had 3 settings: off, taxiing, and max power. The Warthog has great maneuverability at low air speeds and altitude. It can loiter near battle areas for long periods of time. It can operate in low ceiling and visibility conditions. Of course, it's been upgraded too. The first A-10s entered service in 1977, but they were first used in combat in the Gulf War. They went on to serve in the Balkans. In 1994 and 1995, they flew a third of all combat sorties in the Iraq War. They also flew tens of thousands of sorties in Afghanistan. The last deployment came in 2018. 12 A-10s from the 303rd Expeditionary Fighter Squadron were deployed to Kandahar Airfield. All this means the A-10 will be a great boost to Ukraine. There are no high-altitude dogfights in Ukrainian airspace, but close air support is vital for offensive operations. Ukraine lacks modern attack helicopters as well. It would take some time for Ukrainian pilots to master the Warthog, but they already have plenty of combat experience. All it takes now is one decision.